Hello everybody, it's Amy from Making Space with another creative activity for you all to try at home. Today I'm going to show you how to make these lovely embroidered cards. It's a really simple activity, but I think really lovely. Obviously for the activity I'm just going to show you how to do something quite simple, but you can let your imaginations run wild and you can do something really quite complex. It's completely up to you. But we're going to start off with a nice simple activity, a nice simple word, one colour for the demonstration. But yeah, please don't let that curb your inspiration and your ambition, because you can do multiple colours, lots of different words, rainbows. You could do pictures, not just words. It's completely up to you. Regards to the materials you're going to need, it's really simple. You're going to want some blank cards. I've got these lovely kind of craft brown cards, which I like working with. You're going to want some scrap paper, just normal plain copier paper. Some embroidery threads and a needle. Now you're going to want to make sure your needle's got a big eye to it to thread the embroidery thread through. But also a sharp point, because it's got to pierce through the card. It's got to be a sharp one. Then you're just going to need a pencil and a pair of scissors, and that's it. Really, really simple. So let's move this one off to the side and let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is decide what word you would like on your card. Now you're going to want to do joined up handwriting. I think that works better. That's what I've used for mine, so that's what I'm going to show you. You can experiment with normal writing, capitals or lowercase. It's up to you, but I think this looks really nice, so that's what I'm going to do. So the word I'm going to do is joy. I think it's quite a nice word to have on a card. So we're going to write that word out using all joined up letters. Okay, like so. Obviously you can have a few trials with this, try different writing styles until you've got one that you like. Then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to turn it over and trace through it from the back. Now if I hold that up to the light, you can just about see it. And we're just going to do it very lightly to start off with. Obviously if you've got a window, go use a window. I'm just going to try and do mine here to sort of show you. Once you've got it sketched out roughly, go over it with nice, smooth lines. Okay, until you've got your thing. You can also turn it around, hold it up to the light, check you're still happy with it. Then you want to grab your blank card, figure out what's going to be your front, so that's this side here, and then turn it over so you're working on the back of the front, if that makes sense. So if you imagine it's folded, this is the front of the card, this is the back of the front. Okay, now you want to put your back to front word in the middle of the page. If you're just doing one word, obviously if you're doing lots, space it out accordingly. And then what you're going to do is you're going to press quite hard, tracing over the top of your lines. And what we're doing here is we're indenting the card underneath. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, you can just about see that. Okay, and what that does, that gives us a back to front version of our word. Ooh, missed that a little bit. And then what you can do is just trace over the indentation. Okay, so now you're ready to start. So you want to grab an embroidery thread. Again, any colour you've got to hand. You can mix up the colours. You can get some lovely kind of ombre threads which kind of go from, you know, dark green to light green, etc. Cut off a length that you think's about right. You can always add more if you need to. Then you're going to want to tie a knot in one end. So to tie a knot, I wrap it around the end of my finger, like so. Then I roll it off my finger, put my nail on there and pull to the end, and that creates a really nice little knot. Now because this is going to be visible on the back of the card, we want to keep it quite neat. So I'm just going to cut off that little tail on the back of the knot so it's as neat as possible. Now what we want to do is we want to get the other end of our embroidery thread we're going to wet it just between our lips. That makes it easier to thread. Let's do that again. And then thread your needle, like so. Pull a length through, but not all of it, because you might need to, oops, sorry, not the camera there. You might need to move that as you go. Okay, and now it's time to start stitching. Now we're going to stitch almost like half of it. We're going to do alternate stitches from the back, and then we're going to fill in the gaps as well. I found that's the best way. So starting from the back of your card, push the needle through. Now it's not the easiest because obviously you're stitching through card. There we go, give that a bit of a wiggle. And pull it tight. Now what you're going to do is you're going to leave a bit of a gap, I'd say about this much. And what you can do is you're then going to come up from the back. Now obviously you can't see this from the front because there's nothing on the front of our card. But what you can do is if you gently push up with the needle, you can kind of see where it is because it pushes through the card. Like so. And we're going to leave a gap. So if I just do this top one, you'll see what I mean. Sorry, the camera's probably going to be bouncing around a little bit because... so you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see that on there. Yeah, you can. You can see when my needle's in the right point. And thread it through. And then we'll come down. I'll do this top part of this J and then I'll show you what I mean. Got a very bouncy camera cradle, which isn't the best for doing these kind of crafts, unfortunately. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing from the back now. And if we flip it over from the front, you can see there's gaps between the stitches. That's what we want, because once we've done all the word one way, we're then going to come back and fill it in. And then you just want to carry on. Now, what's really important, I find, is you want to follow the continuous line that you've drawn. Okay, what you don't want to do is maybe come down here and then go back this way and then there and then come to here and then do this bit. Follow it like a continuous line. That will make both the back and the front of your card much neater. Okay, so we're just going to carry this on. And obviously the more you do of these, the quicker you'll get. And what you want to do is kind of with your, because obviously we're doing straight stitches and the lines are curved, you just want to kind of, so on this curve here, almost think, well, that's a bit of a straight line, then that's a bit of a straight line, then that's a straight line, then that's a straight line. You just need to kind of use your intuition and what you think would look best of how you can draw the curved lines that you've got, but using circles. Using straight lines. I think it looks nice as well if you can roughly keep your stitch length about the same. It doesn't have to be 100% precise, but what I'm going to do here, because I just slipped, I'm just going to join that. That's where I'm going to go up to the top. I'm not going to do this little line through the middle here. Now these would obviously make great birthday cards, Valentine's Day cards, you know, just cards to say, hi, we miss you, we love you, you know, whatever you want a card to say, really. They can also make just lovely pieces of artwork if you want to kind of do something a bit more detailed and put it on the wall. Stitching card, although it is a bit stiff trying to pull the needle through, it is quite nice because it holds its shape. It's not like fabric that kind of flops around. Now what I'm going to do here is, because this kind of comes up to a point and then carries straight on, I'm going to come back through that same hole. like I said, you know, you could do pictures, hearts, flowers, stars, anything like that would work quite well. With this, stars would work really well. Probably easier to start with a star than it would be a word. So if you've got a young person that wants to have a go, that might be a good place to start them off with. And you can see you're now on the last letter. We're on the Y. I'm just still doing exactly the same technique we've done the whole way through. Where we're leaving a gap. We're gently pushing through with our needle so we can see where it is. Trying to pull our needle through. I think it's where I'm not leaning on the table this time. Makes it a bit trickier. And you could, I guess, pre-punch all your holes with a needle first before you sew it as well. That might be an option. These activities are just sort of suggestions to get you trying something a bit different at home. So feel free to, you know, experiment with them. Have a go, you know, try something a bit different, mix things up. And obviously, as we keep saying each time we do a video, we'd really love to see if you guys do have a go making anything inspired by one of our videos. Please do share it with us. You know, you can email it to us, you can tag us in social media, whatever you want to do. We'd love to see what you create. Okay, we are very nearly at the end of the first go. Okay, pull that one through. Okay, so you can see, looking from the back, that doesn't look like our word at the moment because it's almost missing half of the letter. So now it's time to go back and fill in those blanks. So you might have to keep flipping it over, that's fine. So obviously this is the end of our Y, so we're going to go back to the last line, go back through the hole that's already made. Like so, and now it's almost like joining up the dots now. Now, if you're not sure where to go, flip it back over, see where the last line was on that continuous line, poke it through, and join it up. I'd recommend keep flipping it over, sticking through, flipping it over. Some letters will be easier to do. Obviously, if you've got a straight line, an L or an I, you know, that's going to be easier to follow. And don't worry if, like, you know, your lines are slightly out of sync. That's fine. Obviously, when you can tell where the lines are going, you don't have to flip it over. You can just keep it from one side. Again, you're kind of doing what you find's easiest. But you've got the back there as a guide if you need to check where to go to next. If you need to, pull the needle further down your thread as well, giving yourself a shorter tail but more thread to actually stitch with. Beware of the corners as well because the threads do like to catch on the corners. Sorry if you can hear a drill outside. That's my husband doing some work in the garden. Okay, so now you can see the Y is complete now. Bit of a wiggle there, but that's fine. That was just me not sort of following my lines very well. Now we're getting to this O. This is when it gets a bit more confusing. So I am going to turn it over and follow the lines that are on here. That's what I don't want to do. And you can just keep checking The nice thing about this is if you make a mistake, you can really easily unpick the last stitch you've done. Just take the needle off and pull the thread back through, rethread it, and then carry on. There we go, so you see we've filled in that O. I'm going to come up to the top bit there. Sorry, it's quite hard to do this with the camera right there. That hole's quite busy because there's quite a few holes going through that, so I'm just going to pull this off. Right, and then we've got, from there, let's check where we're going. So then it's into this hole here. So you can see, because I followed the line from the front and the back, it looks really neat from the back. The stitches aren't in the wrong order. You can see it just says Joy back to front, which is what we want. You want it to look nice from the inside as well. Although the front's more important, we still want the inside to look nice. We're nearly there. If you're like me, your hand will be, your fingers will be aching by now. Okay, and there we go. We've got our word stitched into the front, which looks lovely. So you just want to knot it off from the back. So turn your card over. You might want to stretch out your fingers a little bit if they're aching. Make sure that's pulled nice and tight. Okay. Then what you want to do is you just want to create a little knot under the last stitch you've made. So put the needle underneath it. Pull it through. Ooh. Got a bit of a, oh dear, there. Made a right little mess on that last bit. Let's see, we've kind of obviously lost one end of our thread. Just trim that bit off. So yeah, what you want to do is you want to leave a tiny little loop. So don't pull the thread all the way through. And then what you want to do is go through that loop a couple of times. And then you can pull that tight and force that knot down to the base of the card, like so. If you're not sure, you can do another one. I quite often double knot on the back of my embroideries just because I don't want it to come undone. So go through, leave a loop, go through the loop once, through the loop twice, pull that tight and secure that knot at the bottom. Okay, then we can pull the needle off, trim off any excess. So you can see, really neat from the inside as well. Then you can fold your card up using the pre-crease edges. Obviously, if you've not got pre-made cards, you can just make your own and score them yourself. And there you've got it. Some lovely little embroidered cards to send to some people to spread a little cheer. So I hope you enjoyed the activity. I hope you have a go. And yeah, don't forget to send us your examples if you do. Okay guys, thanks so much and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.